game down with Crepo, Vedius, and also Reckless, who has joined us. Thank you so much for joining us after your match. It's been a long time since we talked to you as well. Obviously, we'll be diving a little bit more into your match in the post-game lobby.
We had a handshake moment already.
Yeah, I saw that. So what happened there, actually?
I mean, it's just really close. The whole fan like handshake or high five line is so close to the desk. Every player sees the camera, they pause, freak out, and then they look to the guy behind him. It's like, what do I do? And it's like, I don't know either. And then
When in
eventually
doubt,
they realize,
shake some hands.
Yeah, shake some hands. These are casters here, big fans.
Yeah, in any case, let's talk about Schalke taking on H2K. Obviously, Schalke coming off a fantastic day one where they won 2-0. H2K was 1-1 yesterday. Vedius, what did you make of both teams' approaches and picks and bans here?
I thought the priority on the Viktor was quite interesting coming out from Schalke. We were discussing it on the desk how Fox does seem to put a lot of value on both the Viktor and the Vladimir. And with the Vladimir taken off the table, they're basically saying, okay, we want to make sure that we have a mid laner that feels pretty comfortable on that Viktor.
Very interesting as well. We saw the Sivir coming out, Reckless. It is not something that we've seen a lot here in Europe. Only the second pick over the 2 days. What do you make of the low priority on her in Europe?
Well, I think her biggest weakness right now is that she has a lot of matchups that she struggles in. But then again, in the next patch, Lucian is getting nerfed, and I think that's going to open up a lot of versatility in the role. So I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing more of her moving forward. But I guess this week it was quite tougher to take a place.
Yeah, on the other hand, Freeze, Crepo, he's only played Caitlyn so far. What did you make of H2K's bottom lane draft?
I mean, he is the new Forgiven after.
Oh, there we go, the memes.
just playing Forgiven. H2K's draft, I mean, it's team fights versus team fight. Reckless was alluding to it a little bit when we were watching the game, that you felt like they traded up in like priorities because they had more tier 1 picks on their roster. You can definitely see that. I mean, in this type of comp, the Fisher summed it up in the desk as well. Whoever gets the lead eventually is gonna win these team fights. You'll have a superior lead unless you make a big mistake. I think at the end of the game as well, Schalke was kind of desperate to try and get back in, and they opted in the fights a little overeager, and they didn't really let Fox do what he does well on Viktor. Is where he kind of pokes around, nibbles at the side of the fight, and then commits with the ulti. It was very often too late. By the time Fox had his ulti down, Schalke was already dead on the floor.
Yeah, there we see them discussing, of course, with Coach Nif.
To be fair to Schalke, just adding to Crepo's point, they actually had a decent early game. Fox in particular putting a lot of pressure down onto the Ryu. Yes, he had to trade a 1-for-1, but putting Ryu in that sort of a situation, it could be pretty admirable coming out from Fox. And the play that they actually made in the bottom lane set up Schalke quite nicely to have a decent early game.
Yeah, let's take a look at that because it was quite messy from both teams coming in, and Fox actually joined the fight quite late.
We had a good old bot lane party here. Double TP's coming in. Initially, Freeze obviously getting picked off. Runs out of gap closers, and then Gilius lands the cocoon. You just see like how far away from the fight the mid laners are. So Fox is joining in second. He starts moving right now. He ends up actually influencing this fight later on.
Yeah, he doesn't. The real question is, why is Freeze that overextended? The fact that the collapse comes down from the side of Schalke sets them up nicely, but they overcommit a little bit, and once Ryu joins and he's able to get this turret up, this is where things start to look much better for H2K. This is exactly what Crepo was saying. The joining of the mid laners is really where things start to shift, but then with Fox joining in, being full health, he then just needs to buy time, and he's easily able to clean up this fight.
And Reckless, if you're an AD carry, how annoying is this?
I'm not really sure if he could have done anything in this case, though. I actually think Schalke could have taken this easier than they did, because the Kindred was up for way too long, in my opinion. At this point of the game, she's just stronger than most of the other champions in the game.
I mean, I have this notion personally that a lot of the bot lane has lost skill in the 2v2 matchups because of teleport being so prominent, and every time I felt like when you go for a trade that you would win at the end of the trade because you go in aggressively first, you would get ruined by teleport. Do you agree with that at all? Is it just better to just play max range safely, or is there still room for 2v2 kills?
I still think there's room for 2v2 kills, but I think in general the other side of the map is quite neutral in most cases. You have, I mean, the strong top laners, you have the mages mid. So most cases you actually can match the enemy teleport with yours. But as you said, if you're the first one going deep, they're also going to be the first one TPing, right?
Yeah.
So it's a tough call in general. And I think, for example, yesterday I got punished for going in first.
Couple hooks in your face.
Yeah. But either way, I think the game is just so team-oriented right now that it's hard to count it as like a 2v2 lane anymore.
Yeah, so let's take a look at another team fight. I actually want to take a look at this because it seemed like in this one, in this replay, that H2K was absolutely trapped But you think here that they're trapped, obviously. They're in the middle, they have the Azir turret, but Schalke 04 is attacking from both sides.
Yeah.
But what does Schalke do wrong here then?
I mean, they go full Rorschach, like, nope, we're not trapped in here. You are trapped in with me, because the scoop from Rio just wins this fight. Fox is, if he can stay alive longer in this fight, he can do a lot of damage, wreak havoc, but it's just a really good presence of mind, really good awareness here from Rio to scoop him in. And obviously, you're never really trapped if you have that Azir turret available.
No, never. Yeah.
I really like the decisiveness from H2K to just instantly make the decision where you're being attacked from two flanks and you just go, well, the weaker flank is in front of us, so let's just go forward. They get the pick down onto Fox, and then the team fight just swings in their favor. So the fact that H2K, even with a new AD carry, can just have that peace of mind to just go, let's make the play, is really nice to see.
Yeah, not just for this play, but for the game in total. The player of the game for us is Ryu. And it's quite interesting because he didn't have the best spring split of his life. And it would be very important for H2K if now with Freeze as well, they can set that through. From you, your experience in scrimming versus H2K, do you sense any different dynamic with Freeze now?
I think H2K play in a very similar way still, like as they did with Forgiven.
It's the probably factor.
Yeah, I guess so. But I also think that Forgiven was better at doing it than Freeze is. I think Freeze is more perhaps similar to other AD carries in a way. I think Forgiven plays a very specific style that only he can pull.
Who would you compare him to, Freeze?
I guess the easiest comparison would be to Sven. I think both of them play a pretty stable style. Meanwhile, Forgiven is more just keep on going into the lane, right? And I think he's much more of a lane bully than Freeze ever was or is right now. So I would say that the style still works, but perhaps it's not as effective anymore.
Yeah, lane bully is definitely something you can say about Forgiven. But I just feel like Freeze will have a larger impact in the team atmosphere. Obviously, this is purely conjecture. We don't know what goes on, but we, you know, based on the track record from Forgiven and the fact that the team was resigningly confident in no longer like kind of playing with him anymore, maybe what Forgiven has an edge up onto Freeze. Freeze makes up in the difference in making everybody else more comfortable and then allow for more progression of the H2K squad.
Yeah, and I also think the style that they were running in the spring split, at some point it became quite easy to see what they wanted to do, right?
They played full on macro.
Yeah, they just kept on doing it every game the same. So as you said, perhaps now with Freeze it's going to be a more balanced team atmosphere, and perhaps they're able to play on both sides of the map. So I'm not sure if there's a win-lose situation here, but I'd definitely say that the specific style worked better with Forgiven than with Freeze.
All right, well, we will see what happens in this one. There's still one game left to play out this week here in Europe as Schalke 04 looks to fire back at H2K after game one. We'll see you back here in 3.5.